allegiance, inspired by his own experiences, to being my favorite guest on Howard Stern, to the seminal sci-fi classic Star Trek. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. George Takei.
It's great to be here in Arizona. It's a state that's very dear to us. My husband, Brad, was born right here in Phoenix, Arizona. How many people here are from Phoenix? How many people here know where St. Joe's Hospital is? Well, that's where my husband made his debut in the world. Brad was born right here, and his mother lived up in the White Mountains, and we've been visiting her over the years many, many times, and we fell in love with the world's biggest, most majestic ponderosa pine forest. It is the biggest in the world. Did you know that? Right here in Arizona, up in the White Mountains, 3,500 feet up in the air. And we fell in love with that area, and since we've been visiting his mother regularly, we decided to buy our hideaway cabin up in the White Mountains. So we've been coming here for the last 10 years because I love our cabin up there, smack dab in the middle of the ponderosa forest. There's nothing more relaxing, more sublime than sitting on our deck and reading the New York Times and listening to the wind whistle through the pine needles. It's not like the waves at Malibu, which goes so boring. The winds up in Sholo just go on so softly, so poetically, so serenely. And so we come here quite regularly. And how many of you here are visiting from elsewhere? Welcome to Arizona. It is a great state. We've got everything. You don't think it's just a desert. It's also the mountains. It's also Grand Canyon. It's a wonderful place. And the reason why we can come back here is the fact that all of you have made my career so wonderful that we can afford to come. And so we thank all of you for your support. I'm really grateful to all the fans because you've made it possible for me to do so many things that I don't think I would have been able to do. You've given amplification to my voice. Certainly, we're all proud of our association with Star Trek. It's a show that really has made an incredible impact. It's 53 years old and still trekking. 6 TV series, one after the other. And now they're preparing another brand new Star Trek TV series starring none other than Patrick Stewart. Some of you already knew. So many movies. I think it's now the 14th, 15th, 16th movie. I don't know. But we keep on trekking. Thanks to all of you. It's your support from way back. And looking around, I see some of our original fans here. Those that tuned in 1966. And thank you for all of the original fans, because there weren't too many of you back then. We were bottom rated. rock bottom. And that's why we lasted only 3 seasons. But because when they canceled us and we went into syndication, they showed us 5 nights a week from Monday until Friday. And that's when we found our audience. And the ratings soared, and Paramount decided to give us a new life as a series of feature motion pictures. Star Trek the Motion Picture came out in 1979. And yes, that's something to celebrate. 1979 to 2019, that's an amazing longevity. We didn't know how meaningful the Vulcan greeting really was. Live long and prosper. We have lived much longer than we ever expected. And we have prospered in so many wonderful ways. And you gave it all to us. Because of your support, it's become this amazing phenomenon. And because of your support, you've amplified my voice so that I can do things that I wouldn't have been able to. I can speak out on political affairs. I can speak out on my childhood imprisonment here in the United States. Because after Pearl Harbor, we Americans, Japanese Americans, my mother was born in Sacramento, California. My father was a San Franciscan. And they met and married in Los Angeles, and my brother and sister and I were born in Los Angeles. We're Americans. But suddenly, because of Pearl Harbor, they started looking at us with suspicion and fear and outright hatred, simply because we looked like the people that bombed Pearl Harbor. And I remember that day when soldiers came. Soldiers carrying bayoneted rifles stomped up the front porch and with their fists began pounding on our front door and took us out forcibly and imprisoned us in a barbed wire prison camp. We were taken 2/3 of the way across the country to the swamps of Arkansas. There were 2 here in Arizona, notorious camps called Poston and Gila. We were taken to the swamps of Arkansas to a camp called Camp Rohr, R-O-H-W-E-R. But as a 5-year-old kid, I thought it sounded like roar. That's what the MP said when we arrived there. Roar, roar. I thought they were pretending to be lions. But it happened to be a prison camp. I still remember the barbed wire fence, the sentry towers, and the machine guns pointed at us. When I made the night runs from our barrack to the latrine, searchlights followed me. But to 5-year-old me, I thought it was nice that they lit the way for me to pee. I was 5 years old, and my memories are that of a 5-year-old, 6-year-old, 7-year-old, 8-year-old. 4 years behind those barbed wire fences. And for me, it was an adventure. When we were on the train going to Arkansas, I asked my father, "Where are we going?" And he said, "We're going on a long vacation to a place called Arkansas." A vacation in Arkansas? It sounded exotic to me. My father could have said, "Vacation to Honolulu." You know, Arkansas had an exotic sound. And for me, this Southern Californian kid, the swamps of Arkansas was a magical place. And it was an adventure for me. My parents told us about the water moccasins, that they were deadly and we had to stay away from them. But those black little fishies wiggling around, we could catch and put them in a jar, and suddenly they would spring out with legs, and then the tail would disappear and magically become a frog. I mean, I learned a lot in the swamps of Arkansas. And so I have written a book, and it's coming out 2 months from now, July 16th. a book called They Called Us Enemy will come out as a graphic novel. So, we're aiming this book at the youth generation, because so many adults, we Americans, don't know about that horrible chapter of American history, where innocent American citizens were imprisoned simply because we looked like the people that bombed Pearl Harbor, with no charges, no trial, due process. The central pillar of our justice system simply disappeared, and we were put into these camps. And I want Americans, our fellow Americans, to know that this is an American story, because what was violated, egregiously violated, was the United States Constitution. And we need to know where we failed so that we prevent something like that from happening again. Thank you very much for that applause. It's so meaningful for me, because it is a chunk of my life spent behind American barbed wire fences that I think every American should know. And it's become my mission in life. We developed a Broadway musical called Allegiance. Some of you saw it. Thank you. We wanted to personalize that story, make it a human story, and how it affected the Japanese-American community and Japanese-American families. It was a divisive thing. The community was divided, some families were divided, and we tell that story in music, in Allegiance. And I just finished a 5-month shoot up in Vancouver, British Columbia, a mini-series called The Terror, Infamy, because it was both terrible and an infamy. And just to kind of make the story more dramatic, because in terms it was harrowing enough. Some people committed suicide, some people died, others did incredible things like being drafted from the prison camp and being sent out to, in a segregated unit to fight on the battlefields of Europe, and came back as heroes. They sustained the highest combat casualty rate of any unit of the Second World War, but they also came back as the most decorated unit of the Second World War in Europe. Can you imagine? People, Japanese Americans, drafted out of a prison camp to fight for our country because they wanted to prove our loyalty to this country. And we came back as heroes. And so these are important stories that Americans need to know about. And because of the amplification of my voice that you have all given me with your support, I've been able to talk about that. I've been able to talk about other issues that were very personal to me. I'm gay. I'm happily married to a white guy. We've been married now almost 11 years, 10 years to be exact. This September, it'll be 11. But actually, we've been together for 33 years already. So, Brad says thank you too. He's appreciating that applause. This at a time when we had laws against gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender people. I remember as a young man in a gay bar where I was at last able to find a place where I can put down my guard, relax, talk to other people, frankly, as who I am. But one of the older guys told me that I have to be careful even in a gay bar because they raided the police police raided gay bars and marched them out, packed them on vans, and took them to the police station and photographed them, put them on the names on a list, and that was a terrifying thing to gay people, because they could have lost their jobs, their careers, some even lost their families. And that made me think about my childhood imprisonment. We were innocent, and yet we were looked at as criminals, a threat to national security, and put in barbed wire prison camps. LGBT people were innocent people in a bar enjoying each other's company, and that was criminalized just because they were who they were, and taken to the police station and photographed and categorized as lawbreakers. It's the same mentality, this broad brush that says all people of one kind are a threat to the United States. That Gene Roddenberry, the creator of Star Trek, saw the Starship Enterprise as a metaphor for Starship Earth, and he felt that it was this diversity of this planet that gave this planet its strength. And to bring that diversity together and work in unison as a team was what was the power of our diversity and move society forward. And so you saw that diversity. It was visible in people like Michelle and me. We were, at that time, considered minorities, fringe people. But there was another kind of diversity that you heard. For example, the 60s was the coldest point in the Cold War. The Soviet Union and the United States, the Western world, threatening each other with mutual nuclear annihilation. And on the Starship Enterprise, we had a person who was proud of his Russian heritage and a trusted member of the team. So his vision saw diversity of even different ways of thinking about our politics. We would overcome that and be able to come together and work together. All of this diversity. Gene Roddenberry is hearing that applause up there. Thank you very much for that. But that's what Star Trek was all about. And that's what brought us all together. And your support, certainly the original fans, but the amazing thing about the original fans is that they replicate themselves like tribbles. Children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, the next generation, and the next, and the next. That's all of you. You've all told me at the autograph lines that your grandparents shared Star Trek with you. You watched Star Trek with your father. And it's all of you that have contributed to our careers and our longevity and the amplification of my voice so that I could speak out on these issues. So thank you to all of you for making all that possible for me from the bottom of my heart. So, with that preface, the part that I enjoy the most is our dialogue, our conversation. And so, do they have mics set up? Here's one. Is there another one here? There's another one there. So, let's begin the conversation with this mic here.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you so much. You're an inspiration to so many of us. Quick question. If you have one piece of wisdom you can pass on to our youngest generation, what would it be?
One piece of wisdom. I have lived a long time. And over those those years, I have gained a lot of wisdom. And you want me to whittle that down to one? I'm 82 years old, and I have a lot of winnowing to do that you're asking me to do. One piece of wisdom. Well, I love all of you, and I want all of you to be healthy and well. I notice you're in a wheelchair. I know that life has misfortunes that afflict people, but there's a lot we can do for ourselves to be healthy. Eat healthy. I try to primarily eat fish and fowl, and I don't have to try. I love vegetables and fruits. Those are healthy foods, and almonds are healthy for you. I like especially blueberries, lots of antioxidants. And every morning, never fail, I get a cup of hot green tea served to